Hello friends, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. This time I am in my new filming location, which I finally have set up because I have moved and it took me a while to get the books onto the shelves. So we are finally all organized and I am pretty happy to have two bookshelves beside each other to actually have a nice background for my videos, and I am back to filming for you, which I'm very happy about. So the video that I'm going to be doing today is, usually I would split my August wrap-up and my September TBR into two videos, but because I didn't read a ton in August, as some of you may know if you've watched my other videos, I was working on my master's thesis, and so I have completed the first submission for that. But it did mean that I didn't get a ton of reading done in the month of August. And in September, I am preparing for my thesis defense. So it's a busy time. I'm also trying to find a job since I am graduating. Well, we hope I'm graduating. And yeah, I'm trying not to overcommit myself to my reading, even though this is still a pastime that I'm going to be spending my time on whenever I do have that free time because I love it. But I'm just trying to not put so much pressure on myself. So let's talk a little bit about the month of reading that I did have in August. The first book that I finished in the month of August was A Betrayal in Winter, which is the second book in the Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham, and I am going to have a review featuring Ben from Overly Average Ben coming out for this one very soon. We had quite a long and good discussion about this book, and the two of us are going to continue buddy reading throughout this series, so we're going to plan to do those reviews for each book, but that is going to be coming really soon. If you're interested in that, keep an eye out for it in the next few days. I really liked Betrayal in Winter. I liked it more than Shadow in Summer, which was the first book. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and it was a great, I want to say, start to my reading month because it's the first book that I read, but I didn't start reading it until halfway through the month, but I just flew through it. Even though me and Ben had a set amount of the book that we were reading each day, it was, you just wanted to get back to it when you weren't reading it, when I wasn't reading it. So I absolutely loved it. My very in-depth thoughts will be coming though. The second book that I finished in the month of August was Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely adored it, and I want to do a review for this as well. I'm not sure when exactly that's going to be coming because I want to structure my thoughts on it before I attempt to film that review. But Senlin Ascends is so unique. The setting in here with the Tower of Babel and the character of Thomas Senlin, I fell in love with all of it. And so, I mean, obviously, because like I said, I gave this 5 stars, but it's one of those books where I was hoping to love it, but in the back of my head there was the fear that it had been overhyped and I wasn't actually going to. So I was so pleasantly, not quite surprised, but I was just glad that I loved this so much, and it was fantastic. If you're not reading these books, you really should be. And then the third book that I started in the month of August is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, and you can see my bookmark, or maybe you can. I am right about halfway through it right now, and so this is basically spilling over basically half in August, half in September. I was a little bit ambitious with wanting to finish this by the end of August because, like I said, I did move on the 28th of August, so I was really busy after that and I just didn't have the energy to read much. But that being said, I am very much enjoying this at the halfway point. The two main characters, Annie and Lee, I would die for either one of them. I want to protect them. I really love them. So I am it's the same feeling as Senlin Ascends, where this one has had so many great reviews from so many people, where I was afraid that I wasn't going to like it as much, especially at the start, because this is in first person present tense, which is not at all my favorite tense to read a book in. But it's one of those things where after you get into the book, it kind of fades into the background. You stop noticing it. Like, whereas it was very obvious to me for the first like 10 pages or whatever. But like I said, I have stopped noticing it. It's not something that's grating on me, and I've been allowed after that to immerse myself into the story. So I'm really looking forward to finishing this. Hopefully it will be in the next couple of days. And then the last thing that I have been reading in August that I have finished the majority of, but I'm not quite done with yet, is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. And that one is an arc, and it's coming out officially on September 21st. So I know for sure that I am going to do a review of that book, but I am taking Under the Whispering Door slowly. I'm not in a rush to finish it, so I don't know exactly when that review is coming. I will still hopefully finish that book though within the next like 3 or 4 days. I don't have that much left of it. It's just a matter of having time to like read Fireborn and read that, how I'm gonna balance them, that type of thing. So that one will be finishing up soon as well. Now I do have a couple of books here that I'm going to shift now into my September TBR, but the first couple of these books, I did start them in August. It's just that I realized very quickly that I was going to need to prioritize some of my other books instead of these ones, so they are being pushed to the September TBR. And the first one of those is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I read like 85 pages of this and I was really liking it already. So I actually read those 85 pages pretty quickly. And this is like a 500 to 600 page book. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe like 550 page book. So this one I think is pretty realistic to fit in. It's not that long. It's gonna be hopefully an easy read for me in terms of the prose. Like, it was flowing well for me, which is why I was reading it pretty quickly. So I am really looking forward to getting back into this again. And then the second book that I started a little bit of in August was Lord of Chaos by Robert Jordan, the 6th book in the Wheel of Time. So this one, I think I only got like 30 pages in. I really didn't read much of it at all. I think this just was super intimidating to me when at the same time I had a lot of academic obligations. Like, this is a big book, and the book itself isn't intimidating to me. It's just the fact that when I have other things to do, I want something a little bit lighter and not something that's going to require this much from me. So that does mean that I am a month behind on my schedule for the Wheel of Time now, but I am going to make an effort to finish this one throughout September so that I can then move on to Crown of Swords in October. And I'm not mad at myself or anything. It's just a little blip. And I still will be reading this. I'm just gonna have to maybe take it slow. We'll see how it goes. And we have a surprise return, or maybe not so surprise return, of this nice little bind up of the Long Bryce Quartet, because like I mentioned, me and Ben are going to be buddy reading the rest of the series with each other as well. And so the next book is An Autumn War. That's the 3rd one, and we are buddy reading that in September, so that will hopefully be starting in a couple of days. So I am very, very excited to continue with this, and I keep holding up this like ginormous chunky book, but all 4 books are in here, and I believe that each of them is like around 250 pages. Granted, these are pretty large pages with pretty small font, but again, I feel like An Autumn War is very manageable. And then the fact that Ben and I increment our reading, that we read a certain amount each day, means that like there's not a ton of pressure. Like, you aim for that amount, and then if you get that done, then great. Then I can maybe read a few pages of like one of the other books that I have on the go. So I think it's going to work out really well in that sense. Then we have like excuses, am I right? We have Valor that has spilled from July on to August and now into September. So this will hopefully be the month of Valor. I am really looking forward to reading Valor. It's just one of those that like it is a little bit chunky, so I keep looking at it and not wanting to start it when I'm pressed for time. But I think back to the ending of Malice and when I read that and how crazy it was and how much the events at the end of that book made me want to dive straight into the second one. And thinking about that, like, it makes me really excited again, and I am truly really excited to read this. So hopefully September will be the time. And then in an effort to not be too overly ambitious, we do have one more book on the TBR, which is Arm of the Sphinx by Josiah Bancroft, which is the second book in the Books of Babel. And like I said, I fell in love with Senlin Ascends, but I have heard people say that the books, each individual book, like, they're actually quite different from one another. But I'm thinking that the consistent nature throughout will be like his writing, how he built his characters, how unique this world is, and things like that, where even if the content itself is quite different, you can still have those through lines of the things that I loved. So I'm still pretty hopeful that I'm gonna love this one as well. And I think people even say that the books get better than the first one, and I already loved it. So I am really excited for this, and I'm hopefully going to continue along with one of these per month, with the Hod King being in October, but we will see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. It is one of my goals this month to kind of like calm down. So to that end, that is it for my September TBR. And this was a pretty chill video. I kind of just chatted through a little bit of the August wrap-up, which, to be fair, was quite small. And then my aspirations for September. So let me know what you think, if you're reading any of these, if you have read any of these, in the comments down below. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day, guys. Bye!